All right, welcome. We are here today with Chris Anderson, CEO and co-founder of 3D Robotics, this partnership with Autodesk. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So we just announced it yesterday, and
congratulations, by the way.
thank you. No,
Chris.
This is the big year for commercial use of drones, and when you think about it, you probably think about it. I mean, originally we thought about drones as military applications, then we thought of them as sort of things that people would take to the park and take videos. But if you think about them as just sensors in the sky, we have the ability now to measure the planet so we can manage it. And now what sectors would you want to measure and then manage? Well, there's things like agriculture, farms, et cetera, but construction turns out to be one of those. Construction is the second biggest industry in the world, and it all starts digital. It starts with a CAD file on a screen, and the moment you dig your first spade of dirt, now it's analog. How do you manage it? How do you measure it?
Well,
dudes with clipboards, by and large,
Okay.
right? Photographs, et cetera. So how would you redigitize a construction site? Well, it's really hard. And in the old days of like drones with like pilots, it was super hard. I mean, literally some guy had to like fly the thing up there and hopefully they got the right pictures. Well, fortunately, these things are smart now. So what we announced is something called reality capture. So Autodesk has a reality capture. And so what you do is you capture reality, in other words, you digitize the world, and then you analyze it and you bring it back into the same CAD file that you started with, so you can see the change over time.
very, very interesting. And what other commercial use cases come to mind?
There's a ton. I mean, basically you pick the biggest industries in the world, and each one has this sort of reality capture opportunity. So agriculture is the biggest industry in the world. Agriculture is one where we really, we plant and then we wait to see what happens. Why don't we measure what's going on? The answer is farms are too big and there's too few people working on it. Satellites are too high, either above the clouds. Airplanes, helicopters, too expensive. You can't put sensors in the ground because you're turning over the ground, etc. So drones actually turn out to be the easiest way to measure the progress of a crop, both in the visual spectrum and also infrared and things like that. That way, you can actually spot, oh, hey, I've got a pest infection, or the irrigation's leaking.
Wow, very interesting. What else should we be thinking about in terms of drones going forward?
On the commercial side, it's, again, you just pick off the industry. So construction, agriculture and construction we just talked about. Insurance. What is the connection between drones and insurance? Well, turns out that insurance adjustment, in other words, measuring damage, is something you have to do. So if you have a house and there's a storm, and the storm knocks a tree onto your roof, you now call up your insurance company, and the first thing they need to do is they need to evaluate the damage. How do you take a picture of a damaged roof? Well, you know that
someone's either going to have to go up there, or you need a drone.
It's crazy. They actually put people on ladders or cherry pickers, or even unbelievably climb on damaged roofs to take pictures. Well, it's dangerous and expensive. And sometimes they delay doing it so it becomes less dangerous, and every minute you delay is
worse.
Water damage, mold, the people are living in a hotel, so that's expensive. You want to do adjustment as quickly as possible. So we've made it so that you can basically, they say, okay, somebody calls in, my roof's been damaged. The dispatcher just says, here's the property line. Somebody shows up with a box, looks just like this, and they sort of say, they pull up their app and they say, oh, okay, so here is the house. Here's the damage, here's the power line that went down, here's the tree that went down. They just identify the areas where there's obstructions, and the drone figures out all the rest. It stays within the property line, it stays outside of the obstructions, and it just takes these images of the roof, so you get this high resolution measurement of the damage, and then you can get adjustment like that.
Very interesting. Well, Chris, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.